Hey, what's up, YouTube? All right, today's video, it wasn't really planned. It was brought on by a comment somebody made on my go bag video. So I'm going to address some things, address some dated information that I put out. However, I don't like the way it went down, okay? If you remember that video, which was one of my first, like, I don't know what the hell I was doing, you know? I'm slowly learning this whole YouTube thing. It's just me doing the editing, most of the filming. So here we go. All right, so I mentioned I carry the shop marker in my bag in case there is a need for it, you know. And I just mentioned as an example, like if somebody had a tourniquet, the way we was taught in the military, you would write a T on someone's head and then put the time the tourniquet was applied. Well, back then, when I was attending the CLS, which is the Combat Lifesaver course, that don't mean I'm a medic. It just covered very specific things like treating a casualty, assessing the situation, you know, stopping blood loss, to stop a sucking chest wound, to provide an IV in someone that is suffering blood loss or they're dehydrated, CPR, how to apply a tourniquet. Okay, well, when I was in, the status quo was, if you apply a tourniquet and you write the T, so when the medic comes up to assess the casualties further, they'll see quickly, okay, this person has a tourniquet and it was applied at, say, 11:30 a.m., all right? And that lets them know, because again, the status quo back then was you were to release the tourniquet, I think it was every 15 to 30 minutes, depending, just so, like, say if you had a tourniquet up here because you had an arterial bleed, you're spatting blood, you cinched a tourniquet down. Well, back then they thought that, you know, you're going to start getting a lot more damage to the rest of your extremity because it can't get any blood. So you would loosen it just for a moment to allow blood to flow through the rest of the extremity, and then you would cinch it back down to stop the blood. Well, since I've got out, that has changed. Apparently, you can go up to 2 hours based on the literature I learned earlier. So this guy, he's an established YouTuber, does a lot of gear reviews and stuff. Not really my bag, but hey, like I said, you want to learn from everybody. Now, what I would have done in Nolatac, that's who it is, Nolatac, some guy from New Orleans, Louisiana, that makes gear reviews and Bugout bags and stuff as well. So he put, no, you never loosen a tourniquet. Please don't make comments like that. Now, if it was me as a professional and I seen something that was dated or wrong, I'd be like, hey, you know, I don't know when you last took a course or whatever, but the status quo has changed. And this is what they say now. And I'm pretty sure he was a vet, so vet to another vet. I just thought that was the wrong way to come at me. But why you mad, bro? Well, anyways, I wanted to address that, okay? So first off, you'd still need the marker. If you had to apply a tourniquet to somebody, you would want to write the time down on them somewhere. That way, when you finally get to a medical professional that can render aid, they'll know what time the tourniquet's been on there, how long it's been on there, etc., etc. But you don't release it, all right? I just want to clarify that. And I even mentioned in that go bag video, this is not something that I'm covering. I'm not a medical professional, but that was just me remembering the information that was drilled into our heads. This was very important because at this point in time, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan was kicking off. There was a lot of IEDs, and they realized your everyday soldier needs to have skills to treat and assess a casualty on the battlefield quickly. You always place your mission first, but once you had free time to render aid to your comrades, you do it. And that's why they assigned like 2 combat lifesavers per squad. Everybody had a bag, and you knew how to use the bag. You got tested out on this stuff. So I do apologize for mentioning a method that was dated, but we were in no way covering. All right, first off, all right, I don't want to give you guys dated information. I want to give you guys all the most relevant and up-to-date information that I know. Now, again, I'm a minimalist, okay? I'm not going to go buy a bunch of tourniquets, store in my bag. I've got 550 cord and there's sticks all around out here. I can make a tourniquet, all right? It's too easy, Priv. It's too easy, all right? So, I also want to say this. If I ever got a chance to test out someone's gear and do a gear review, or somebody wanted me to sponsor a product, I would. I would give an honest opinion. I would utilize it as it was meant to in an actual situation, and I would report to you guys. I wouldn't kiss any company's ass just to try to get some sponsorship dollars or whatever. I'm doing this to help people so they can learn some skills. The everyman, not just everybody that has a couple thousand extra dollars that they can just go throw at all the nicest stuff, because you don't need it. You don't need it to be one of the most badass, most efficient mofos in the woods. That's why I'm going to show you my simple collection of things that I can get by on. And I'm not just speaking as a veteran and an outdoorsman. I'm speaking as someone that has lived around the sticks and in the sticks their whole life. I do have that military experience to help back all that up. You know, a lot of stuff I did in the military, it was just like going camping for me. You'd see some of them city boys like really struggling out there in the bush. But me, it was like, this is like a regular weekend in West Virginia, you know. It was too easy. But it's important that every single person out there watching these videos and subscribing to the channel understands that you don't have to have all the nicest, most expensive shit. Because honestly, you're just saving up for that one crazy mofo that's going to end up stealing or taking all that shit from you. I like to move light and I like to move fast, and I can do that with everything I have in my bag. I use these skills every single day. Every time I walk out my door and head toward the woods, wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, whether it's foraging, scouting for ginseng, taking Loki on a walk, just to go walk through the woods, I know that with this bag, no matter what happens out there, I will survive. I will make it. All right? And that's important for you to understand. I know when you watch my channel and you see my loadout, it's going to look rather insignificant compared to one of these established YouTubers that have sunk thousands of dollars into their setup and their rig and have all these sponsorship dollars and people sending them stuff to try out. Again, that would be awesome to do. But I'm always going to beat the drum of minimalism and getting what you can. The essentials. Learning to use those as you grow into it and you start building on it. Sure, if you have the extra dough to go buy all the super cool stuff, do it. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But knowing that you don't need all that to be effective and efficient in the woods, that it makes you feel good. So with that, we're going to get on with it. I'm going to show you again what all's in my bag and how I change my loadout for different things. I mean, just taking Loki with me on long trips, I have to set my bag up entirely different. I have to sacrifice because I will not take anything bigger than this bag right here. Okay? I don't want a big hefty backpack. I do have some backpacks that I've used. I did have a really nice camelback that I got when I was out in the Southwest that had everything in it. All right, it was in addition to the other bag that I carried. I didn't have this one back then, but it was a nice tall camelback bag. It was about that thick, but it zipped over the top like this. You could lay it out and you could have all your medical supplies. It had all the pockets you could want, and I had it set up perfectly. Well, before I deployed to go overseas, I had to go take this pre-deployment health assessment, and I left my apartment for like 3 days. And when I come back, everything was robbed out of there. Everything. They even took the food and the waters out of my refrigerator. They stole all my clothes, TVs, furniture, you name it, I lost it all. And that sent me down a very troubling road. That it broke me. Knowing that I was vulnerable like that. But Fast forward to now, I told myself, you know, I'm not going to sink a bunch of money into something like that again. Like, I know I can survive with what I got, and I do. All right. I mean, for example, me and Loki walked out back the other morning, and there was a damn timber rattlesnake there on my back sidewalk, and it almost bit Loki. Well, now he's a skin mount. He fucked around and found out. All right. But it's always a danger out here. Where I live is like snake capital of West Virginia, and I'm not bullshitting you. We got bears, we got coyotes. You know, if it's out there and it can get you, it's not far from the house. You know, we see it all the time here. Normally, I wouldn't have killed a snake like that, especially if I seen it out in the wild. I would have observed it and thought this is a really cool experience, and I would have let it go. However, when you get Loki involved, that's my best bud. You fuck with Loki, you're gonna find out. All right, I'll bury you right in the fucking backyard. I ever seen somebody draw down on my dog, hurt my dog, speak to my dog in the wrong way. If he don't get your ass, I'm going to. All right, and that's not a threat. That's not me being a tough guy. This dog right here, we are bonded together. We are a team, and I couldn't have a snake like that being on the property. You know, as much as we mill around the garden and the bush garden, we got the pond, we got another pond we're working on. It's just a hazard, okay? And it had to go. Now, this video is going to be a little long, so grab you some popcorn, grab a beer, grab you a snack, and just sit back and let old Grambo talk to you for a minute. All right, so let's get into the go bag here. All right, guys. First thing first, the bag, which I mentioned before in my other video, just a simple SOG shoulder bag. I mean, it's not even the best made. It has Molly gear. I got the little plastic carabiners on it. I got some cord minders. I got this thing right here, which you could run 550 cord through it, hoist stuff up in a tree. You use it for a lot of things. Okay, I like little things like that. They're cheap, they're light, snap onto your bag. So you can see I got my blood type, O-neg, got some other cool patches. That is one of the combat patches I'm authorized to wear. I think that's the 68th Engineer patch. I can wear the 25th ID patch. I forget the other one. But, you know, I just put cool stuff like that on there. I'm sure people see it in the videos and they're like, oh, what's that? This is actually my old artillery units patch before I ever even joined. Somebody had a few extra of them and gave me one, and I've kept it for years. And I was like, you know, there's a patch of Velcro under there. I'm going to put that on there. So if you were curious about the patches, that's what some of them are. Now let me address another comment that I got. I had a guy tell me he's like, having a fixed blade knife on the outside of the bag without a sheath is a big boo-boo. Well, I used to run with scissors as a kid, okay? I take risks. You know, I do a risk assessment on everything I do before I go into the woods, just like you would in the military. And most of it is because of this fella right here, old Loki dog. Because he adds a whole nother level of risk that if I was going alone, I wouldn't have to manage. So when you're about to go out, you want to do a quick risk assessment, right? What are the possibilities that you'll encounter? What are some of the things that could happen to you medically? You know, from dehydration to breaking your leg. Do you have what you need to fix yourself up good enough to get you back home? These are things that I worry about. All right. And like I said, having Loke Dog with me, that adds a whole nother level of risk. Like he likes to chase snakes. What would he have done if he looked down and seen that rattlesnake looking at him? Knowing him, he would have started nosing at it. It would have struck him, and I probably would have lost my dog. All right. Hopefully not. You know, I would have rushed him right to the doctor, but you never know. Loki likes to F with snakes, and I'm so thankful he didn't see it. Now, he walked right up to it and was standing over top of it, but guys, I am still shook from that encounter because I thought my dog was going to get bit. So I wanted to address this. If you have a fixed blade knife on your bag, don't do it. because people are going to drum on you about it. But you know what? I don't care. I'm all the time by myself. I'm the only one that messes or deals with this bag. I don't just leave it laying on the couch where somebody's going to sit on it. I don't leave it anywhere. It's always close to me. Whether I'm outside, it's in here. If I'm taking the side-by-side out, usually stays in the side-by-side unless I'm going to hike away from the side-by-side, then it goes with me. If I go somewhere, extended stay in my vehicle, it's going to be with me. I always know where it's at. I have a place to put it. I'm the only one that has to worry about this fixed blade knife. Sure, you can say, well, what if you slide down one of those West Virginia mountains and it comes out of there and then you got a knife hanging out of your rib cage? Well, you know what? That's my choice. It's my decision. It's never happened. It's never even came out. It hasn't even cut into the webbing. I like knowing it's there. Trust me, there's a lot of times that I use this knife and it's real easy to get off. I just unclip it from the carabiner because I got it on a little bit of a lanyard. But yes, ideally you don't want to have a fixed blade knife like that on your bag. All right, but I know it's there. It's like second nature to me now. I don't just grab the bag and squeeze it right here. Always grab my bag from the top, pick it up. All right, so next item. I usually have this in here. Now, like I said, my loadout changes. I'm a minimalist, all right? This little camp axe I got in a set. It's a Camillus titanium bonded set that I got at Walmart years ago. I always put it blade down, caddy corner at an angle, in this back pocket inside the bag. You can't even tell it's there. Even pressing up against your back, can't even really tell it's there, all right? Then, like I said, I keep my shit light. All right, so if I'm going out in the woods camping, or I know I might have to stop my side-by-side, get out, clear some limbs, because we have storms here all the time, blows limbs over trails, I use it for that. But for the most part, this Camillus Carnivore X machete, it's actually a really good machete, super strong. It's titanium bonded. It's got this little knife on it here that you can make like a spear out of. Which I'm going to do that one of these days when we start primitive weapon building and how to utilize something like that. So if I'm going bare minimum, I got Loki with me, most of this compartment is going to be full of water bottles, and I'm going to have another little cooler full of water because this guy drinks water. Where he's got that black fur, we're out in the heat. I mean, the other day we went ginseng scouting and Loki killed 3 bottles of water before we even made it like 100 yards up the mountain. You know, it just wears him out. And he don't have a low speed until he gets so wore out, his tongue's dragging out, and he's done drank the water. That's the only time he slows down. Before I move 100 yards, he's already ran a mile. And I'm not shitting you a bit. He has no low speed. So when I go packing with him, I take mostly everything out of my bag except for water. I got my knife. I'll have 550 cord in one of these little sunglasses things. This 550 cord actually has, it's tinder cord. If you look on the inside here, there's actually this red filament. That's for starting fires. So this is multi-purpose. You can tie shit down. You can make little zip things. I could cut this off and put that on there as a zipper thing, zipper pull. So I'll have another means of starting a fire. But if it's me and Loki, extended stay, I usually just pack this little blue bag. Got my fire starter, got my knife sharpener, got my headlamp, and then it's full of water. I don't really take much more than that. Now, I always do have my compass, which I don't think I pulled my compass out of here. There's a little front pocket right here. And that's what would be like right on your chest. That's where I keep my compass. Real easy to pop out. Usually have it hooked through this little tab right here on a piece of 550 cord. So if I want to just leave it kind of dangling there, I can. And I could just check my compass whenever I need to, right? Okay. So I have my compass. And I have just the bare, way to start a fire, sharpen my blade. That's really it. And some 550 cord. Now, if we're going on something more extended stay and I'm going to have my side-by-side or vehicle around, I pack it all. I can get every bit of this stuff in that bag, no problem. Even my little Stanley cook kit. Now again, I use this stuff a lot, all right? We lose power a lot around here with these crazy storms that's been coming through, sometimes 2 or 3 days at a time. I use this to make soup, teas, coffee. You know, I break out the little camp stove and I get down. If power goes out, it don't even faze me anymore. We get by. It's too easy. So I use everything in a practical way. I use everything as I need it. It's not just for show and to tell you guys. I actually take this stuff out and I utilize it. All right. So I got this little dry box. Some people buy metal dry boxes. This is a Plano one. You could get in the fishing section of like Walmart or your Cabela's. It is a Plano. I keep stuff in here that needs to stay dry, like that medical tape right there. I got that toilet paper. This wasn't a plastic bag, but I needed that plastic bag to harvest some ghost pipe there not long ago, so I just put it in here. Got some triple antibiotic cream. I got my wire for starting a fire. It's stainless, but sometimes stainless can oxidize a little bit, and I don't want my wire to get weak. So I'll leave it in here, and I keep silica packets in here just in case moisture does get in. Like if I opened it while I was pouring the rain to get my fire tender out, it keeps everything nice and dry. Now, sometimes I add things, sometimes I take things out, sometimes it just depends on what I'm needing. All right, this right here is actually a dropper bottle full of Clorox bleach. It's not the gel kind. It is not scented in any way. You just want regular bleach, and I'll tell you why. So remember how I showed you how to purify water using plastic or filter your water? Well, once you boil your water, if you have too much that you can't use it all in one sitting and you want to keep it, you know, for a couple of weeks or as you need it, once you purify the water and you boil it, you could add, I think it's, now don't quote me on this because I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it's 10 drops per gallon. I think like 2 drops per cup. And what that will do, it'll keep your water purified for an extended period of time. It won't hurt. Now, you just don't want to go pouring bleach in your drinking water. I'm talking literal drops. All right? You can find that information pretty easy on the internet, but you can use a few drops of bleach to purify water if you plan on keeping that water for a while. All right, because you might say you're at a water source, you have all the water you need, but you got to move out, and you don't know if there's going to be water up the trail. Well, if you have a little bit of bleach, you can touch that water up a little bit to make it last a little longer. And I think it keeps for like 6 months like that. All right, we'll get into that. We're going to do more water purification and collection stuff in the future. We're just covering what's in the bag. So if I say something that isn't 100% right, we're going to get to it. Trust me. All right, got the hemostats. All right, that's important. I mentioned that if you get a fish hook in your finger or you need to clamp it on an artery to keep it from bleeding. The reason I said you would want it for like a fish hook, a lot of fish hooks have barbs on them. And once they go in the skin, you can't back them out. So one thing you can do is clamp it onto like you got to pull the fish hook all the way through your finger where you can get a smooth part of the shank and clip that on there. So it'll allow you to cut and file down or snip off the barbs. That way you can just pull it right out. Or you can cut the top off and then clamp it onto the top, cut the ring part off the back with some snips, and then just pull it on through. But if it has barbs, you might need something to hold it in place. Clamp that on there for a moment so you can free up one of your hands to work on yourself, right? But hemos come in handy for a lot of different things, okay? It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, black tape. It's good to put on boo-boos, little wounds you get, scrapes, cuts that you don't want to get infected or whatever. I was working on my vehicle the other day, skinned the back of my knuckles, had black tape in my toolbox, wrapped it up, as good as new. You could use this to mark a trail, to find your way back, to fix some of your gear. Black tape has tons of uses, and it's a good idea to have some. One of these 550 cord bracelets, I've made hundreds of these things. That has enough paracord in it. You can make a trap, snare, you know, tie up some gear, whatever you need, all in the compact bracelet. I'm wearing one right now. I have the plastic buckle on it, and I do have a piece of wire hid inside there. So if I ever need to make a leaf and needle compass, you know, whatever. The water compass that we figured out in my compass video, using a lid of a water bottle and a piece of wire, I could do that. So that's always handy, having one of these extra, because it don't take up a lot of space, super lightweight, and you got a lot of uses. I keep a lot of 550 cord, if you can't tell. I have 550 cord for whatever purpose, okay? So I have a black plastic bag. Remember that video, how you get water from a pine tree? Well, if you have a black bag, what does the color black do? It absorbs heat and light, right? Well, that will cook one of your pine tree limbs to get you a lot of water even quicker than a clear bag would. All right, so that's lightweight, don't take up a lot of room. I could use it for a lot of things. Now, I like to sharpen my knife with a stone, but carrying a few stones around with you or trying to find the perfect river rock to sharpen your knife, it wastes a lot of time, and it'd take up a lot of space carrying a decent sized stone with me. So I got one of these Smith knife sharpeners I carry with me, and it also has the little bar here that you can resharpen your fish hooks, knock some rust off of them. All right, pretty self-explanatory. I carry a few blades with me, so it's important to have a way to resharpen your blades quickly. Here's the wire we use to start that fire in the starting a fire with wire video. Right, I've got my Ferris rod. I have my little catch if I needed to make a snare, my little spring snare. I've got my little catch. I made that one specifically for the video, but I liked it so much, I was like, you know, it's light, it's ready to go. Fits right in the bag. I've got my headlamp. I actually have a little backup headlamp. This thing is cheap, it sucks, but you know what? If you need light, you'll be in good shape. Magnifying glass lens. Of course, if you as a kid, you ever had a magnifying glass, you could burn stuff using the sun, start a fire. Too easy, prof. All right. These cheap dollar plastic ponchos, as we spoke about this before, you could do so much with it. You could stay warm with it. You can make water bags out of it. You can make little bags to cover pine trees so you can get water out of it. So many things you could do with these. You could use it on the roof of your shelter to keep you super dry. Loki, stop. It ain't nobody out there. This will keep you dry. You could wear it too, of course, but usually when I go out and I know it's raining, I always have my raincoat on, and I can just wrap it up, put my raincoat under this elastic band right here, fold it up, stick it in there. That's where that goes. All right, more 550 cord, shelter building, wounds, wrapping yourself up if you need it, securing a splint if you fall and break your arm or leg. 550 cord is always good to have. If you're carrying a big bag that has tourniquets and a bunch of medical supplies, I could do about 75-80% of the stuff you could do with all that nifty medical stuff with just some 550 cord, some tape, some plastic if I need it, and a piece of cloth, which I always carry extra what do you call this stuff, cheesecloth, so I can make char cloth downrange. Now I do have a little metal box. I don't have it down here with me right now. I have a little metal tin that once you get you a fire going, you could take some of that cheesecloth or any type of cotton cloth and cook it in the fire till it's charred black, and if you shoot a spark with your ferrous rod or magnesium bar, it catches fire really easy. Now, another tool I take with me, I don't have all the time in there when I'm ginsenging. I got this little set of binos, not real powerful, but they do the job if I'm trying to glass the next hollow over and I don't want to walk all the way over there. This is very important. I got sunburned last year. I actually got sun poisoning last year on a kayaking trip on the Greenbrier River. And I thought I was going to be all right, but I have a set on top kayak. It was still kind of mid-spring. Anyway, I got toasted, and my legs are still miscolored. Like, I have like purple skin on my shin still from how bad I got burned. And I should have put on sun protection, but I thought I was going to be all right, but I was not all right. So from that point on, I got one of these little bottles from Walmart. It did have a little clip on here. You know, it's worth it to have sunscreen, especially if you're out there in a desert region, out in the Southwest or something, and you're doing a lot of exploring, bushcrafting. Well, that sun it'll get you. So it's good to have protection from the sun. Now, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I adjust things accordingly. Here, let me mention this. I'm not a big fan of fanny packs. You'll never catch me with a damn fanny pack on. However, if I need to take something extra downrange with me, what I do with this is I put whatever I need in here, and then I clip it around my bag to where it sets on the bag about like that. It matches. It snaps right around when it's full. It's perfect. And it's a real modular way of being able to build onto this bag. Now, again, it has webbing and stuff. You could put a bunch of these carabiners to add certain things on the exterior of the bag. But I seen a bunch of these on sale, and I was like, screw it. I'm going to buy a few of those because I could use them as secondary go bags. And I could also clip them to my big bag, and it stays all nice and tight. And I mean, look at it. Look how small this is. I can fit all that in there, including this, packing carefully. Which this is full. It's got. Look at this. I even have some yeast in there if I need to make some expedient filled wine. Yes, I'm prepared. I've got my cup and then this multi-spice seasoning thing. So if you took you some kind of game or trapped it, snared it, whatever, you got a way to make it super delicious. So I do have a little camp spoon that folds out. I don't know where it is. It's probably down here somewhere. But guys, this is pretty much what's in my go bag. Now, again, if you like to have everything under the sun in your bag, by all means, get her done. But don't feel pressured when you're watching some of these other YouTubers that are going through all this super high dollar gear. You know, I know not everybody has $200-300 to go spend on a bag alone, and then thousands of dollars to fill it up with all that real nice stuff. Guys, this is all you need. This is all you need. You just need to learn how to utilize it and practice it, and you're on the track to success. And then if you want to build on and get some of that more expensive, better stuff later, by all means. But this is all you need, guys. I don't even need all of this. That's why I say when me and Loke go out, I usually fill up this little bag with just the stuff that, if I absolutely needed something, I can make it work with that. 550 cord, super important. Way to start a fire, super important. Light, in case you get stuck after dark. Sharpen your blade. 550 cord, 550 cord, 550 cord. It can do so much for you. All right. But I wanted to address those two YouTubers that mentioned my no-nos and my boo-boos. But hey, some information is dated. I did have correct information if it was about 15-20 years ago. But now things have changed. I'm glad he brought it up to me. I just wish the guy would have did it in a little bit nicer of a way. You know, the way I see this community is just that, a community. We share knowledge, but some people get way too competitive and they feel like they are just the go-to source for all knowledge outdoors. But I tell you what, if that guy came up here to West Virginia, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with him up in these mountains any damn time. And I guarantee you he's not going to perform like I perform. And that's not me being cocky. It's just me knowing how to do shit with with what I got here. Okay, yeah, maybe if I had to apply a tourniquet before I understood, I'd probably been releasing it every 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was. You know, but for a while, that was the right information. But now things have changed, and it is not. You can comfortably wear a tourniquet for 2 hours without any major risk. All right, I just wanted to clarify that, guys. But hey, I wanted to cover my go bag video again. There's still a couple of things I don't have down here right now that sometimes I take with me, sometimes I do, yada yada. But this is all you need, guys. This is all you need. And I can go out there and live like a king in the forest with just these items right here and my faithful companion Lope Dog. All right, well, peace out, guys. I'm going to do another video immediately after this for the Ranger beads and teach you guys the thing. All right, I hope you enjoy it. Sorry it was so long, but I had to reiterate about the tourniquet thing, and especially the fixed blade boo-boo knife over here on the side of my bag. All right, but hey, you guys have a good one. Stay safe. I hope you're practicing. I hope you're keeping survival in the back of the mind. You know, it's a crazy world we're living in right now. Peace, y'all. Be safe.